Welcome back to the kitchen, guys. Summer is upon us and we are looking at barbecues and picnics, and we got the perfect recipe for that. It's gonna be a buffalo chicken mac and cheese casserole. Amazing layers of creamy mac and cheese with that tangy, spicy buffalo chicken on top, smothered in another luscious layer of baked cheese. It's everything you want in a casserole. Let's kick it off with our first layer, the buffalo chicken. We are starting out with some softened cream cheese and a little bit of unsalted butter going right into our bowl. On top of that, because it's buffalo sauce, we always start with some Frank's Red Hot. That is the standard for buffalo sauce, and it's the best in my opinion. A little bit of salt, some garlic powder, because why not? And then to bind this all together, we have a little bit of cornstarch. Now we are going to whip this up with a hand mixer. We want it nice and fluffy and aerated so it stays bound together in the oven and doesn't separate. And that is exactly what we're looking for. You want a good strong whip, a full minute or two, bring everything together. You should see it fluff up and lighten in color and you get all the lumps out. We've got our chicken breasts. I like breasts for this. I've got them cut into about 1/2-inch pieces. Just going right into our buffalo sauce. We're gonna give it a good mix. That's looking creamy and delicious already. It's raw, but I'm already wanting to eat it. I'm gonna slap a lid on this, set it aside and let it marinate while we prepare the rest of our ingredients. It's not a long marinade, but it will add a bunch of flavor. I like to put a breadcrumb layer in between my chicken and my mac and cheese. It helps to absorb some of the juices and give a little bit of crunch. So I got some Panko breadcrumbs here. I'm gonna spread them out on a baking sheet. Now to bake our casserole, we need the oven at 425, so I have it preheated already. I'm just gonna chuck these in there for 5 minutes while we do our other stuff to get a little bit of toastiness on them. Like I said, 5 minutes on those breadcrumbs, you get them nice and toasty. They're gonna stay crunchy in the middle of that casserole, give some nice texture. Just a little bit of veg. I like a little carrot and celery on top to give me that buffalo wing kind of flavor. And then I also like a little bit of garlic in my cheese sauce. I just think it takes it to the next level. Let's get this broken down. We're gonna learn today to make a basic cheese sauce for mac and cheese. In the culinary world, we call that a mornay sauce. It's just melted cheese in some dairy, like cream or half and half, depending on how you wanna do it. And it is brought together usually with a roux, which is a mixture of butter and flour, but I am gonna use some cornstarch today because I think for mac and cheese, you want it to be extra creamy, and cornstarch helps with that creaminess. So we're just gonna take that and add it to our cheddar cheese. Give it a quick toss so everything is coated. Coating the cheese in the starch prevents clumps from happening, just protects the proteins from binding together when it gets heated. Simple as that. We'll set this aside. We're gonna bring in our pan and get to heating this up. I like to start with a little bit of heavy cream, bring some richness, some creaminess, and some emulsifying properties. And then I dilute that with a bit of half and half so it's not too thick. Touch of salt, a little bit of that chopped garlic from earlier. Start on medium-high just to bring it up to temperature, and then we're gonna go to low. Now the key to a good smooth mornay sauce is to avoid too much heat and adding the cheese too quickly. Too much heat will cause the proteins to bind and it'll get grainy. We want everything emulsified and we want it super smooth. So we're gonna bring this up to just below a simmer. We just wanna see a little bit of steam coming off the top. Once we get there, go down to very low and we're gonna add our cheese in small handfuls, letting it fully melt and emulsify before we add another one. We'll get it all mixed in. We'll have a perfect cheese sauce. We've got a bit of a simmer and that's even hotter than I want it to be. So let's get it down to low, very low. Let it come down in temperature a little bit before we start. Now we're gonna add our cheese a little bit at a time, small handful, start it out, keeping it in motion the whole time while we do this. Keep stirring. Once you get the first handful in, keep stirring until it's fully melted. And we're gonna add another little handful. Always in motion once we're melting the cheese. If you stop the motion, that can cause it to clump up. We'll wait for that second handful to fully melt. We can see, hopefully you can see, that that is pretty much fully melted, so another handful goes in. Gonna start to see that thickening now. And the last. And that is what we are looking for. That is a creamy, smooth cheese sauce. Exactly what we want. Now I've got my pasta here, my macaroni noodles. I pre-cooked these to 2 minutes less than the package says because we're gonna finish them in the oven. Drained them and rinsed them under cold water, going right into our cheese sauce. This mac and cheese is looking amazing already, and it is not even fully cooked. Smell a little bit of garlic, which I just think brings mac and cheese up a notch. It's so creamy, it's so cheesy. We are gonna get this into our casserole, form our layers, and get it in the oven. We've got our 9x11 casserole here, sprayed with a little bit of cooking spray so it doesn't stick. Let's build some beautiful layers. Now that is a hefty boy. All right, I like to start mine uncovered so I can get my bacon and my cheese to the point that I want on top. Then I cover it with foil and finish. Usually about 15 to 20 minutes to start, and then we'll cover it for another 15. Oven's at 425, let's get it in. Now you have the option of finishing the top of your casserole after it's done with a little bit of blue cheese or a little bit of ranch. The choice is yours, and of course you can do store-bought, but I just think that blue cheese dressing especially is really great when it's homemade and it's just stirring together a few ingredients, so I'm gonna show you how I do mine. Starting out with a little bit of mayonnaise in our bowl. For our spice mix, we've got some sugar, black pepper, garlic powder, and onion powder. A little bit of Worcestershire sauce, some distilled white vinegar, touch of cream, some salt, and then my preferred blue cheese is Gorgonzola Dolce. It's got a nice sweetness and creaminess that isn't overwhelming. All you gotta do is give it a stir. That's all there is to that. Let's give it a little taste, why not? Perfect, got a little kick from that vinegar. You can taste the blue cheese, but it's still kind of sweet. Super creamy and super fresh tasting. That's one of my favorite blue cheeses. It's actually one of my favorite parts of the dish, even though there's just a little bit of it. Our casserole is almost ready to cover. Let's get to that. She is out, guys. She is bubbling and crusty and beautiful. It smells amazing. I am so stoked to get into this mac and cheese. It's gotta be one of my favorite versions of one of my favorite dishes, but it is lava hot right now. We're gonna let it get something south of lava before we bite into it. So I'm gonna give it a few minutes. We'll come back, cut in, and we're gonna give it a taste. Okay, it's been like 15 minutes. Is that long enough? Probably not, but I'm getting into this. I can't wait any longer. Now, it's more of a scooper than a slicer, but I like to just cut it so I know my portion size. I go like lengthwise 1 cut and then 3 crosswise. Gives me 8 portions, but you can do it however you want. Let's see if I can get a decent scoop with this spat. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That is mac and cheese perfection. Look at that beauty. Look at that combination of creamy, crunchy, and crispy cheese. I'm gonna try that. I mean, buffalo mac and cheese, it doesn't get better than that. Just that little bit of crunchy cheese with the buffalo sauce is killer on its own. Let us get into this. Let's not forget our blue cheese topper. Like I said, you can do ranch if you're a ranch person. Not everybody likes blue cheese. I think blue cheese does a great job to bring this together. It really ties the room together, guys. I like to leave it off and just drizzle it on at the end. And again, if you have guests, they may not want it. You might want to have a little bit of both. The ranch guys can have ranch, blue cheese guys can have blue cheese. One more look at it, just so we can see the beauty. Perfect. mac and cheese. Let's see, let's get into it. I want to get a little bit of chicken, a little bit of mac, a little bit of crusty cheese. It's unbelievable, guys. My favorite version of mac and cheese, creamy cheese sauce. You got a little bit of crunch from the breadcrumbs, then you got the tang from that buffalo sauce, and of course, just a spot of bacon on top to bring it some smokiness. Everything's homemade, you did it all yourself. You learned to make mac and cheese. By the way, if you don't want to do a buffalo chicken mac and cheese, if you leave that off and just do the mac and cheese, this is a wonderful baked mac and cheese side by itself. But I recommend giving it the full go. If you bring this to your 4th of July picnic, to your family reunion, you are gonna be the star of the show. You can make it ahead of time. You can even make it a few days before, cover it, put it in the fridge, reheat it before you go. A 325-degree oven reheat for about 20 minutes until it's warm in the center. It's that easy. It doesn't get better for mac and cheese. It doesn't get better for a casserole. There it is, guys. I hope you enjoy it. Please like and subscribe so we can keep the channel going. We'll see you next time on Bobby's Kitchen.